apparently feminism now means not being a financial equal to men.
Okay, genuine question for those that say that women should go 50-50 in a relationship with a man because it's the 21st century and we're equals now. Do you think that women fought for the right to have our own money, have our own bank accounts, have our own property, just to turn around and give that to a man, to the same people that were fighting us on it, that were like, no, you're not equal. Oh man, I wish you could have a bank account, but you're just not equal. You're not equal to us. Oh no, dang it. Oh man. And then we fought them so fucking hard that they were like, okay, fine, but we get half. And you think the women that were doing the fighting were like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I did all of this just so I could split it with you. I did all of this so that you could have half the money that I'm working so hard for. Do you have a brain hemorrhage? Hey, do you have a tumor? Because that happens, by the way. Like, some people do develop tumors in their brains and they become violent and crazy, and then they get them taken out and they become normal again. That might be happening with you because your words aren't making any sense. I saw it on the pit.
Good one. All right, so a new justification for special treatment from men has dropped. Now, the reason some women believe they still deserve traditional provisioning from men is not in spite of feminism, but because of it. Apparently, that's what the feminists fought so hard for. They didn't fight that hard just for them to end up giving that money back to a man. And first off, if these women want to participate in the economy and buy things, and it's obvious they do, well, the chances are very, 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 very high that money is going into a man's pocket. There's no way around that. By the same token, they think they're sticking it to the patriarchy by keeping their maiden names. It's still a man's last name. And what she doesn't understand is, like, men are not saying, give me your money. They're saying, why should I still treat you like a woman who plays a different social role than I do? Why should I give you gentleman treatment when you don't possess the qualities that warrant that kind of privilege? And they shouldn't, right? That's the point. And instead of actually addressing that question, she says, well, I'm not going to give you any of my money because feminists of the past didn't fight for such a horrendous thing to occur. And in some ways, I think she's right. But that's because feminism was never about equality. If it was, then 50-50 would sound like music to their ears, but clearly they hate it. To me, it just comes off as like someone desperately grasping at straws, clinging to anything to stop the tide, resorting to hysterics and goofy arguments. She can basically feel the current pulling her to a world where privileges from men no longer exist. And she's fighting it with everything she's got. And she's not the only one. This behavior is everywhere. But, here's where I actually stand on this. I do believe egalitarianism, with a woman is not a good idea. And no, it's not because of some, well, real men provide and women deserve it bullshit. It's about hierarchy, right? And then insulating yourself from the inevitable nagging she thinks you're owed with egalitarian setups. Now, someone might say, wait, this doesn't make sense. You're criticizing this girl in the clip, but in the end, you would just give her what she wants. And I'd say, no, because I would not choose women like her. Actually, if men still talk to her, she should consider herself lucky. A woman is only going to get, at least from me, non-egalitarian treatment after she's proven she qualifies. And let's be honest, women like that are few and far between. And anticipating some more pushback, someone might even say, wait, so you're also about equality when it benefits you and ditching it when it doesn't. My response would be equality gets thrown out the window after she's proven, right, we're on the same page, not before. I'm not having my cake and eating it too. I don't want feminism to exist in the first place, but feminists do. And what they're trying to do is package things in a way that they get both equality and traditionalism from men side by side. That's the contradiction. I just refuse to let that happen at my expense.
I've been a single mom for almost 4 years, and I think something that's not talked about enough is how normalized the optional father role is for dads. Parenting isn't optional. Parenting isn't something that you can just walk in and out of when you decide it's convenient for you. Yet so many dads continually show up 5% of the time, 10% of the time. And when they do show up, it's to validate their own egos, to feel fulfilled, and to check off a box to say, I showed up as their parent today, not to take the burden off of the mom, not to actually support their child in any feasible long-term way, not to be there as a consistent in their life, just to fulfill something that is empty inside of them.
What?
And I don't think what's talked about within that is that showing up for your kid is the bare minimum. Showing up for your kid on a consistent basis is the bare minimum requirement of being a parent. It is the bare minimum requirement of fathering children. So when they decide to not even provide the bare minimum, it is continually on us, the mother, to carry everything without a pause, without another choice. We would do it anyway, but we're not given the option to even out the load because they're choosing to be optional. They're choosing to be, I want to say half in, half out, but it's not even halfway. We need to stop normalizing that narrative.
If we're talking about which version of opting out of parenthood is more normalized, it's clearly the optional mother. I wonder if there's a way to measure just how accepted that role is. Maybe something like abortion. Obviously, abortion has plenty of, detractors, but that doesn't change the reality that opting out of motherhood is massively normalized. Actually, for a lot of women, having the option to not be a mother is one of the only things they care about politically. Not only having the option, but it being socially normal to exercise it and for that option to come without shame or consequences. Now, is that supposed to be a positive reflection of modern womanhood? There is no equivalent for men when it comes to opting out of parenthood. While women can choose abortion and walk away from motherhood without consequence, men have no such option. If a child is born, the father is financially responsible. There's no legal way for a man to abort his financial or parental obligations. We've got this woman here complaining that, her child's father isn't around enough, I guess. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know her personal situation, so I can't really touch on it, but she's not just speaking about herself. She's addressing the issue broadly. So, and surely she's aware of the custody gap. Fathers aren't around as much as mothers, probably because more often than not, it's the mothers getting primary custody and the fathers making payments. The whole complaint about deadbeat dads is that, well, they're selfish, they're irresponsible, choosing themselves over their kids. And to be clear, I don't condone that. But what about the women who do the exact same thing? What do we call the overwhelming number of women who choose themselves over their children by filing for divorce? not to mention abortion, right? But let's continue on this. We know kids have the best outcomes when both parents are in the home. So when a woman knowingly breaks up the family, despite that reality, that's selfish and irresponsible. She's choosing her feelings over her children's future. Now, I'm not saying that every divorce is unjustified, but when the overwhelming majority of divorces are initiated by women, that points to something deeper. And it suggests, contrary to what this woman is implying, that we've actually normalized women putting personal fulfillment above family stability, even when the kids pay the price. And when the outcomes for children in fatherless homes are consistently negative, maybe it's time we stop ignoring the other side of the equation helping to create them.